Today I'm going to show you how to strengthen your lower traps. What's going on, everybody? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you a couple of my favorite lower trap strengthening exercises. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you why it's important to have strong lower traps. To begin, your upper traps and your lower traps, which are located right down here, are antagonist muscles to one another, meaning that they have opposite functions. The upper traps elevate the scapula and the lower traps depress the scapula down your back. So if you're one of these people that has secondary respiration, you work a 9-to-5 job and you're stressed out all the time and your neck is stiff, like on the sides here, and you have upper tightness in your upper traps, then these muscles are going to be chronically shortened, your upper traps will, which places the lower traps under a chronic stretch, which in time will permanently weaken the lower traps. Or I shouldn't say permanently weaken, but in time they will become weak as a result of having tightness in the upper traps. And when the upper traps are tight, they're just going to continuously become more and more and more and more tight. Your shoulders are going to raise up even more. This kind of shoulder elevation is going to be kind of related to kyphosis. Your breathing is going to get worse. It's just going to get worse and worse, and your lower traps are going to continuously get weaker and weaker. So it's for that reason that a lot of people have very weak lower traps. Some of the benefits that you're going to feel after you strengthen your lower traps are increased shoulder control, basically, okay? Your scapula, your shoulder blades are going to move better, and coincidentally your posture is going to be improved. So a lot of times when people realize that their shoulders are rounded forward, the first thing that they'll do is just try to pull them straight back like this, okay? That's not very natural to do. In fact, the scapula, you're pulling it off the rib cage there, okay? You're pulling the shoulder blades back off of the rib cage. What's more natural is if you actually roll your shoulders down your back like this, okay? The shoulder blades, the scapula, actually move along the rib cage in the spine that way, and that's just a lot more optimal for better posture. And if your lower traps are weak, you're going to have a really hard time doing that and holding that position, especially if you have tightness in the upper traps. So there are a couple ways to strengthen the lower traps, but if you want to make it more effective, then I would highly recommend you release the upper traps first, because like I said, they are antagonist muscles, and if you're fighting tightness in the upper traps right here, right on top of your shoulders, it's going to be kind of hard to strengthen the lower traps effectively. I've included the link down in the description below to a video I made in the past on how to release the upper traps, so make sure to check that out. So I'm not actually going to demonstrate this first exercise because it's just super easy to explain, but hanging off of like a pull-up bar is a really good way to activate the lower traps, okay? And what I mean by hanging is I don't mean just a dead hang, letting your scapula become elevated like this, okay? I mean actively depressing the scapula down your back as you're hanging. So you're not just hanging on your ligaments and the joint capsule of your shoulder, you're actively pulling down and holding in this depressed position. You can do that as an exercise for like 5 sets of 30 seconds. You can also do something similar with a lat pull down bar where you're seated holding a lat pull down bar, and you can actually do that for repetition. So you're gonna depress, elevate, depress, elevate, depress, elevate. So I call these behind the neck scapular depressions. All you need for it is a band, okay, a resistance band, works just fine. Basically, grab it a little bit wider in shoulder width, start with it overhead, pull down and kind of split apart as you pull your shoulder blades together and down your back, okay? Up, down, right? You're not really thinking about pulling it apart as much as you're aware of the shoulder blades and the fact that you want to be depressing them, like lowering them down the direction of your spine. You can do that for about 4 sets of 15 reps. Another great way to strengthen the lower traps is a modified version of prone Cobra. So I've included a link in the description down below to prone Cobra. That I've basically made that video in the past, but the modification that we're going to make to it to activate the lower traps is instead of having your arms out perpendicular to you like this, you're actually going to bring them up like this, okay? You're gonna make a Y instead of a T, essentially. And basically, that will really help to activate the lower traps. At the end of the day, if you have shoulder issues, if your shoulders are really rounded forward and you have kyphosis like this, in conjunction with working on the spine itself, you definitely want to be working on the strength of the lower traps. Because like I said, I mean, look what happens when I depress my shoulder blades, okay? Your shoulders will posteriorly rotate a little bit. It's hard to do it without going into thoracic extension, lifting the chest. Your posture is just going to look much better if you develop some more strength in the lower traps. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have and you're not yet subscribed to my channel, then go ahead and do that right over here. Also give me a like on Facebook and follow me on Instagram. I'll include links to both of those things in the description down below. Lastly, if you want me to be your coach, if you want me to work with you one-on-one, assess your posture, or anything like that, go ahead and click the link down below under coaching and pick something on my website. Other than that, I'll see you next time.